Preferences in conflict styles and strategies. Certain conditions give rise to a preference for a particular strategy. Concern for self and/or other, dual concerns model. Culture. Perceived feasibility. Blame direction. Past experiences. Dual concerns model. Knowing about which conditions cause increased self-concern and other concern can assist us in creating a cooperative attitude and enhance an integrative approach to conflict. A conflict style emerges or should be deliberately selected based on how much importance we place on the relationship with the other party, versus how much weight we place on getting the best outcomes. So if the dispute at hand is with somebody who is very important to us in terms of an ongoing relationship, maybe it's a spouse, a manager, or a colleague, and the issues or outcomes are not as important, then we should think about adopting a yielding style or an avoiding style. If it's someone for whom the issues are also important, there's high focus on the relationship and a high focus on the outcome, then we need to select a more problem-solving approach, a win-win situation. Likewise, if the outcome is important but the relationship with the other person is not. For example, a real estate agent or a car salesman, where the outcome of getting the best possible price for the house or the car is important, but we're not likely to have an ongoing relationship with that person, then a more competitive or contending stance might be appropriate. That's how the dual concerns model works. It's a consideration of relationship versus the outcome. Culture. A couple of dimensions of culture influence conflict style. Now this is a significant area, and we can't give it justice in this course, but just to give a sense of culture, some are considered high context. This means that a lot of meaning in the communication is inferred through body language, law, customs, and it's not directly expressed. This is often seen in more collectivist cultures, and you'll notice this because there's not a lot of paucity of verbal expression or words. A lot of the meaning and the message is caught up in custom or tradition. Similarly, individualist cultures will often be considered as low context, and what that means is that the messages, meanings, and rules are communicated directly or verbally. There's an expectation that you'll say what it is that you need to say. In higher context or collectivist cultures, there's often a greater focus on relationship issues, or often an avoidance or an aversion to confrontation. Problem solving in groups is a lot of indirect communication, whereas in low-context cultures, including Western cultures, see overt arguments and confrontations are more common. There's more of a focus on individual interests rather than the relationship. The tendency to adopt more competitive tactics more often, and only deferring to collaborative tactics when that doesn't work. That's just one of the many ways in which culture might influence conflict handling styles or approaches to conflict. Perceived feasibility. The perceived feasibility and projected cost of any approach can influence the style adopted. If we perceive from the outcome, at the onset, that a good outcome is likely, we might adopt or lean towards a more assertive tactic. Blame direction. The direction of blame will influence the way that we approach a conflict or have a conflict handling style. If you blame yourself for the conflict issue, then you're more likely to adopt an accommodating or an avoiding position. If you blame the other party, you're more likely to take a more competitive approach. If you formulate equal blame, we're both in this problem together, the problems need to be addressed together, then you're likely to adopt a more collaborative approach.